So guys, I actually thought we are done summing up 2024 fragrances, but then it hit me that I haven't shared with you the most unique fragrances of the last year. So if you are into artistic perfumes, you want to smell different, you want to be wowed by a fragrance, then keep on watching. I have something really special to share with you. Just check out the description box for all the health information. I would highly appreciate if you could give this video a huge thumbs up, as well as feel free to subscribe to my channel. And once you're done with that, we can get started. So hello and welcome everyone to today's episode in which I put together the most unique fragrances of 2024. Please let me know which perfume impressed you the most last year, and I want to get started with something in the beast mode that turns heads, and this is Sarah Baker's Peaches Revenge. Now this fragrance is no joke, it is so strong. If you are into gourmands, by the way, little disclaimer, this video is loaded with yummy fragrances because for me 2024 was the year of gourmands, and this is a great example of that. Full-on, unapologetic, very sweet fragrance. Think about peach candies. We have nectarine in there, we have guava to accentuate that fruitiness. There is slight amaretto whiff in there, but it leans caramel, so it's almost like peach jam in a bottle. It is very strong. The opening is amazing, really explosive, mouth-watering, and it dries down into something a little bit thicker, so you really need to appreciate very strong, very outgoing gourmands that are always compliment getters. And since this fragrance projects really well, it always brings me lots of compliments. There is something a little bit creamy in there too, and I really like that texture. So Peaches Revenge is amazing, and I'm really looking forward to some new additions to this little, I guess, trilogy from Sarah Baker that she came up with Chris Morris, and he is just a genius when it comes to perfumes. So with that being said, now on the topic of creamy, fruity gourmands, let's talk about Dala Chai from Montblanc. So this is a newer perfume in my collection, and Ira, she is a fellow content creator, showed it to me because she works in the perfume boutique, and I was so impressed with it because it is very polarizing, and I like when fragrance really pushes the boundaries. And since we have so many contrasts in here, because it opens with this, you know, like a very juicy and a little bit tart note of passion fruit that has been one of the most trendy fruity notes in perfumery in the last couple of years. It has something a little bit exotic, mysterious, I would say even slightly sourish to it, and then it is mixed with lots of spices. There is a note of milk, there is a note of coffee. She told me it smells like kind of this chai latte, and it's interesting because there is this very interesting pop of passion fruit that is very unexpected. So to me it smells unique. It's a new interpretation of a milky fragrance because we have this coffee note that is not like a roasted coffee bean, but you will definitely get an impression of that drink for sure, especially with so many spices that cool it down. I find it's great for chillier weather, so it's actually lovely for the holidays, and it reminds me just a little bit of Cold Dawn Cocktail Maracuja, but in here we have more of that fruitiness, and both fragrances are actually available at So Avant-Garde. So in the description box I will leave some of my discounts, and in case you decide to shop through those links or use the codes, I will get a little commission. So thank you so much for that in advance, and definitely check out this Dala Chai from Montblanc, because for me it is really definitely like following trend but interpreting it in a new way, twisting a little bit of everything that is so popular in the perfumery, and I really appreciate that. Plus it's a strong fragrance, so you will get that great quality of this fragrance. And talking about those, my god, probably the craziest perfume on today's list that actually inspired me to film this video is Polish Potatoes by the brand Boho Boko, that is actually from Poland, and the founder is so creative, very talented guy. His perfume collection is so impressive. Highly recommend you to check out their fragrances and get some samples if you want to be excited about perfumes. And Polish Potatoes sounds crazy, it smells a little bit crazy because you'll definitely get that vegetal vibe. There is even a note of beetroot, of course, with potatoes, which is kind of symbolic to Poland. And you know what, we went there over the holidays with Benny, and we ate at the Potatoes Kingdom. That was the name of the restaurant, so it was everything about potato. And yeah, Polish people love their potatoes, so do Germans and many others. Let me know how you feel about that, but you won't get that cooked potato note, you will get more like a peel, the earthy element. And I'm gonna be straight honest with you, you might already know that I'm not into those earthy tones in fragrances. They are a little bit off-putting for me. However, because we have some patchouli in here, and sometimes it has more of like an earthy, rooty side, I like the mix of herbal notes or something aromatic. There is even a little bit of like, I don't know, something so cozy in there. Very cool notes like wheat, heliotrope. Once again, very polarizing because there's also amber, honey, benzoin, so something sweet, balsamic. There are even flowers in there. So I would say you definitely need to try it out just because it is so unique. Definitely a wow factor in a bottle, and it is very, very long lasting because Boho Boko fragrances, great performers, and they also came out with this magic mushroom. So this is definitely way more foresty. I love this vivid juicy color of you know, the liquid, and yeah, it has more of that rootiness. Polish potato is weirdly enough way more wearable for me, but that's another great example of this brand. They are doing fantastic, and I like how they push the boundaries, so definitely give them a try. But now let me talk about this very affordable but phenomenal fragrance from the brand Fantasy Community Perfumes that I've already reviewed, and some of these fragrances have been already featured in other collective top lists in like summing together 2024, so there is a bit of an overlap, which shows you how much I love them. And Frosty Berry Bliss Cake smells phenomenal because it's like a very interesting, very pleasant type of a fruity fragrance that is on the berry side. There is this moist note of biscuit mixed with very cooling note of tea. There is a little bit of rice, pine, musk, and I like that it is slightly edgy and very catchy, so I go to it over and like I reach for it over and over again, and that clearly shows that there is something that attracts me about this fragrance. It's not boring by any means, very affordable, and if you love fragrances with an edge but not like crazily different, still very wearable, it is so good. Gourmand that's not sweet, it actually has a little bit like of that tart twee tingle in there, so highly recommend you this one. It's my favorite from the collection that I've already reviewed for you, and some of the other fragrances smell more like popular trendy perfumes, but that is truly a unique one. And I just quickly wanted to mention Apricot Whisper Peony Almond as well. It is very different from Peach's Revenge, which is like ultra sweet peach jam. This one has more of a cool side to it, and I like the note of cream in there too. There is something nutty in there mixed with more down-to-earth notes like vetiver, papyrus, and tobacco. So this is another great one, and if you're in the state, there is no excuse. You just need to go on their website, get some samples, and fall in love, because these perfumes are extremely affordable and they blew me away. I've been wearing them over and over again, and this next fragrance has been my go-to for the summertime exclusively. I remember how impressed I was with Wave Child when I tried it back at Xongs. I was wowed by this fragrance just because it is so much fun, very explosive, very summery. We have a very beautiful note of watermelon here, and here comes a little story. When I used to live in Ukraine, my uncle had like this watermelon flavored bubblegum in his car, so anytime I got in, I had a few, and it just reminds me of better days of my childhood. And he's a surfer too, and this is a unique take on the aquatic genre of perfumery that is not my favorite, because I don't like those typical cologne bombs, and in here we have more like of an ambery with coconut, so there is something sexy beachy going on in this fragrance. Plus that watermelon is so explosive and it gives you massive beachy summer vibes, and it's also a loud fragrance, so that's great because people react really positively to it. It lifts the mood, and I was really impressed with it because it was so much fun, and I just love the explosive watermelon note in there. But with that being said, another fragrance that I was really stunned by is this Elixir Perfect, my Marc Jacobs. My god, I never know how to pronounce the name correctly, but look at this bottle. The bottle alone deserves like all the compliments, but the fragrance is phenomenal. It is fantastic, guys. It's like a fig of Gourmand that gets fresher, so it's like a reverse experience in here. Typically perfumes open with some fresh notes and then they get deeper. In here we have some really jammy plum on top. It is kind of like soaked into honey and amber are big notes in here, but rhubarb makes it like a little bit tart, and I just fell in love with this note. You can expect a best of episode dedicated to it coming from me soon, but I was so not ready for such a big, almost like balmy, balsamic type of patchouli fragrance. And don't be afraid, it's not like one of those styles that is overwhelming, that is heady. Benny loves it very much. You can watch the video in which he ranked it very highly. I would say if you are into more mass market perfumery, you want to go to the shop and get like the best fragrance that is available now on the market, go with this. It is phenomenal, it's so good, and for me it is unique because once again it starts off pretty intense. I first smelled it at Barcelona's duty free and I just showered in it. So any shop I went to, all the sales assistant asked me or complimented me on this fragrance, and then I got it and I wear it with a Benny. It's a very sexy fragrance, super nice, super beautiful. Highly recommend you this one. And another designer choice, and it's so crazy to me, sharing and featuring some designer fragrances as unique ones, but I thought it might be actually helpful for those who don't want to smell like everybody else. So this is La Vie Belle, also like a newer version of the iconic perfume, which is another elixir. So that has been a very successful year for those type of fragrances, because you guys, it is like that glamorous scent of a lipstick in a bottle for me that you just can't beat. You might remember that it was the year of raspberry for me, my favorite berry note, and in here it's big. It is that lipsticky powdery type of a fragrance that smells just glamorous and unique. There is no other fragrance that would be as feminine and as, you know, just bougie on the market. So highly recommend you to look into that. Another fragrance that I was so just fascinated by is Bastille's very unique release that was dedicated to their national holiday, 14th of July. And this is Celebration in a Bottle, and I love that it is about vanilla. That is not your typical sweet gourmand candy type of vanilla, because on the top we have the note of the gunpowder that should symbolize those fireworks, and you will get something slightly smoky, but you know, I'm very careful with those nuances in perfumery. And in here it is mixed with tangerine, with the black currant, with some other great notes, and then we have high quality vanilla that is not sweet in the dry down. So it is like your most unusual type of vanilla that is not sweet, but at the same time very cozy, very attractive, very alluring. It just sits on skin so nicely, and since there are so many interesting notes, it's not a linear perfume, very complex experience right here. And in case you like maybe darker vanilla fragrances, I think you will be just so impressed with it. I'm in love. It was love at first sniff. I just love fragrances that are unique and artistic, that explore very different nuances maybe of notes that we are all familiar with. So huge applause to that release. And now let's talk about something serious and bold. This fragrance from Francesca Bianchi, my god, this is that very unique take on the note of oud that I guess we are all familiar with, but I just like how she pushed the animalic side of it, because she's really known for those more sexy and slightly vintagey animalic tones. So think about vintage oud, and there's a lot of heliotrope in there, so it's kind of like getting ready for a sexy party in a boudoir, putting on a lot of makeup. So this is like a very powdery, warm experience. I've never smelled oud being so powdery, and since I'm a huge powder lover over here and I enjoy the note of oud so much, you will get a lot of high quality in here. But it is dark, it is loaded with, you know, those heat So this is a very sexual perfume. It's not for every day, but it is wearable, especially for the colder days. It just hugs you and it gives you like that extra confident feeling, which is great. So yeah, it's a little bit for brave-hearted among you. If you prefer something lighter, maybe even green, my god, I'm so picky with those fragrances, but I just couldn't hold back on Time Lapse from this great brand from England. So it is by Picture Parfum, and I just was so wowed by it when I first tried it. Green leafy notes in here are phenomenal. They transport you to the sunny spring day. It's like picnic on a meadow. There is a note of violet, some flowers, and they are almost effervescent, so light, mixed with green, maybe even like moist, very light, ethereal notes. This is the scent of a fairy. This is the scent of something undetectable. This is the scent of magic. It is so lovely. And what's so unique about it, I get the note of almost sunscreen. Maybe that's actually that sunny energy in here, but there is warmth in here too. So very unique leafy fragrance that smells romantic, but I just love how effervescent the leafiness in here is, because my problem with green notes is that they are so harsh, and this is not like that at all. It's like the softest green perfume I've ever smelled. The bottle is really cool. This cap is huge and heavy. So another very unique and green perfume, which is always special for me. And last but not least, and I've already told you that my most favorite perfume release of 2024 is Dania by Orienta Perfumes, and it is unique, guys. It is unique, although it also smells familiar, like one of the prettiest fruity florals that is juicy, that is fresh, that is also powdery. That's just like the best thing ever. And you know what? I love the opening. It smells fresh. It's very hard to describe it, to pinpoint the notes. We have coconut, we have gardenia. I can tell you that there is also peach in there. So the third fragrance with this note, probably it was a very successful year for peach lovers, or maybe me. But you know, tuberose, vanilla, that's all great, and I just love the feeling that it is so seamlessly blended. It's not like the most unique perfume. You've never smelled anything like it. No, it's the opposite actually, and that's the unique part of it. It smells so familiar that you're like, oh, I might already have something in my collection, because you know, my collection is huge, and if yours is kind of like that, you might get that impression. And then I started to go through so many perfumes in my collection. I was like, no, it just reminds me of my childhood, when perfumes were mass appealing. They were so attractive, but also bold with unique character. So I just find it makes me feel unique wearing it. It doesn't have like the most unique fragrance out there. Once again, you might smell it and you're like, ooh, it reminds me of something, you know, like that feeling. Because when you smell something like, I don't know, Peach's Revenge, you won't get that impression. You're like, whoa, this is really new and artistic. Or like Frosty Berry Whiskey, you're like, wow, it doesn't remind me of anything out there. It's its own thing. Dania, it's, I don't know, for me it's just like a masterpiece right here. So in that way it is unique, it performs incredibly. It's just the fragrance I highly recommend you to try out, because I know you'll like it. It is very wearable. Some of these are, others are not, but I hope you enjoyed finding out about the most unique perfumes that impressed me in 2024, and I'd like to learn more about yours. Check out the description box down below, you'll find more help information. And if you enjoyed watching this episode, please give it a huge thumbs up. You can check out some of the previous ones, and of course feel free to subscribe to my channel, follow me on my social media, and thank you so much for watching. Let me know which video you want to see next, and we'll see each other in the next one really soon. Bye guys.